students. Today we are going to study the next topic of the chapter observing space through the telescope. So today in detail we are going to study about telescope and the types of telescope. First of all, what is telescope? Telescope is that instrument which is helpful us to see the heavenly object in the space. Through that we can able to study so many characteristics about the heavenly bodies like the stars, planets and the moon. Telescopes are of various types. Basic telescope are known as optical telescope. Optical telescope is a telescope which work on with the help of the lenses and mirror. The first one is the reflecting telescope. Refracting telescope are the telescope which are made up of two or more lenses. Now, why this telescope is known as refracting telescope? Because as you know that what is refraction? Refraction means a bending of a light or light rays changes its direction when it is passes from atmosphere to the lenses or through the glass. Similarly, if the light rays passes from glass to the atmosphere, the direction of the light rays changes, and this change in the direction of light whenever it is passing from one medium to another medium is known as refraction. And the same thing happens in the refracting telescope. That's why these telescopes are known as refracting telescope. Now with the help of the ray diagram, let's see how the light rays transfer or travel through the refracting telescope and how we can see the heavenly object with the help of the refracting telescope. So this is a ray diagram of refracting telescope. Here the first is a larger lens which is close to the source of light or heavenly object, these two, and they are known as an objective lens because they are in front of the object or heavenly object or the source of light from where the rays of light are coming. The second lens which is used is close to our eyes, that's why it is known as eyepiece. Now this eyepiece is little bit here smaller in size. In the first case, the rays which is coming from infinity are parallel. Passing through this lens, they get converge, and from there these rays are going to pass through the eyepiece and you can see the object. Now the next one is here. The rays are coming from the sources. They get converge at one point, and from there it passes through the another lens and we can able to see the object through the eyepiece. Now students, as we have studied what are the refracting telescope, but there are some difficulties or there are some drawbacks in using the refracting telescope. What are those drawbacks or what are the difficulties? Let's see. The first one is that as we know that we want for a brighter image, if you want a brighter image of any heavenly bodies or any object, then we need a larger lens. The size of the lens must be large, then only we can see the brighter image. Now if we are going to use a larger image, then that telescope become very heavy. So there is a major drawback of that refracting telescope. Another one is that the size and the length of the telescope increases because of the lenses. Another difficulty is that there is an error in the color of image formed by the lens, and this error is known as chromatic aberration. So these are the difficulties or the problem which occur due to the use of the refracting telescope. And to solve this problem, we shift from refracting telescope to reflecting telescope. And as the name is there, reflecting telescope, and reflection takes place from the mirror. So that's why in reflecting telescope, we use mirror instead of lens. Instead of one lens, we use one mirror. So let's see how the reflecting telescope works and how many types of reflecting telescopes are there with the help of the ray diagram. So let's study the reflecting telescope. They are of two types, the Newtonian telescope and a Cassegrain telescope. The first one is, in the Newtonian telescope, as I have explained you that in reflecting telescope we use mirror. So the arrangement is in this way. This is the mirror and telescope. First of all, the light rays are going to come from this direction. So these are the light rays. They are coming from the source of light or heavenly object from the space, and they fall on the concave mirror. From here, due to the property of the concave mirror, these reflected rays get converged and fall on the plane mirror. From the plane mirror, these rays get reflected and pass through the lens, that lens known as eyepiece, which is close to our eyes, and from there we can observe the image of the object. So in this way, this telescope works with the help of concave mirror, plane mirror and the lens also. In the second Cassegrain telescope, let's see how the light rays travel through this telescope. The light rays coming from the source of a light, they are parallel, or we can say these are the incident ray. They fall on a concave mirror. From the concave mirror, these get converged and get reflected and fall on the convex mirror. It is arranged in this way so that it can fall on a convex mirror. From the convex mirror, these rays get reflected in this manner and passes through the lens, and which is known as an eyepiece. From this lens they get passed, we can see the heavenly object. So in this way the light rays pass through this telescope and we can able to see the clear image of the object. Observe this telescope. This is the Asia's largest optical telescope. As this is the biggest optical telescope in India, having a mirror of 3.6 diameter and is situated in the Aryabhat Research Institute of Experimental Science in Nainital. So this is the Asia's largest optical telescope and which is right now present in our India. Now students, as you know, heavenly bodies, planets or star, they used to radiate not only the visible light but also the radio wave, and for that we need a different type of a telescope. These telescopes are known as radio telescope. With the help of this diagram, let's see how it works. Here the rays which is coming from the heavenly object or from the space, these are the radio waves. They get converged with the help of this dish when they fall on this dish, and from there they transfer to the amplifier, get amplified, and then we used to receive it in our computer and we can able to see the heavenly objects clearly.
Students, these are the Earth-based telescope, but these Earth-based telescope present some problem in making good quality observation, such as absorption of light rays in the atmosphere, decreasing intensity of light while reaching up to the Earth's surface, atmospheric pressure and temperature. Because of sunlight or during the night, city lights or cloudy weather can cause difficulties. So, to reduce these problems, telescopes are situated at the top of the mountain. Also, to get rid of all these problems completely, they should be placed above the Earth's atmosphere in space itself. So now the scientist has launched so many telescopes in a space. Hubble telescope is one of such a telescope which is launched by NASA in 1990. Diameter is 94 inches and orbiting at the height of 589 km, which help us to make so many discoveries.
Now students, let's see the organization which work on the space and technology in our India and the various satellites and their role. The first one is, that is, as we know, ISRO is the institute where the space technology and the research takes place. The full form of it is Indian Space Research Organization. It is established in 1969. So this is our Indian Space Research Center where the research on the space, the launching of the satellite takes place. Now students, let's see the various different satellite series and their role. The first is INSAT or INSAT or GSAT. These are the series of satellites which their function is in the telecommunication, television broadcasting and meteorological series. So they work on these fields. The another one is there is EDUSAT. EduSat is exclusive for the education field or in the field of education. The another one is IRS. IRS are the series of satellites which work on monitoring and management of the natural resources and in case of a disaster management, for example for forecasting the storm or forecasting the rainfall. For this purpose these type of IRS satellites are used. So these are the various series of satellites and their function in different fields.